language is the foundation of our culture. And the foundation of our culture is based on the natural laws.
Our lives would be different if we learned more of the language. If we did learn more of the language, that'd be bringing back our culture from something that happened over how many years.
And to me, it's our way of life, it's our laws, it's what guides us. We don't have a book that does that for us. It's our elders. They're the ones that are, in that context, our book.
Because there's nobody to speak to anymore. Nobody can speak it around where I'm from. Because most of them lost their language when they put them through school, through residential school.
My nephew speaks Anishinaabe, all my nephews, my niece, but there's a next generation that's kind of not speaking Anishinaabe as much. And that's where it's going to kind of, I don't know if it's going to survive. I grew up in the bush, in the forest. Yeah, my whole family lived in the bush, and it was like a good way to learn a language. I heard it every day. I didn't hear English. My mom does not speak English. My dad spoke English, but my mom didn't. So being with my mom all day and my grandma, I learned the Anishinaabe one. The community growing up, everybody spoke Anishinaabe. It's when the school started that grade 1, when I started, I wasn't happy, but I started and I learned English. And the following year, I repeated grade 1. This time, I was put in a French class. So it was picking up, priority was picking up English and also French, like a lot of the memorizing had to do with the church. The church was kind of like the one that they wanted to promote, or I guess, or wanted to put in our minds.
Well, first and foremost, I think the language is the foundation of our culture. And the foundation of our culture is based on the natural laws. Because of the education system, we tend to lose our connection with the land, the natural laws. We miss our connection with nature. When I say it's the foundation of our culture, that's what keeps us in relation with all the creation.
When I was growing up, we used to come to the community, speak to all the people that speak it there. Because where we lived was only 4 families there when I was growing up. But we had to travel for 30 miles to go to a different community. Those days there was people could speak their language yet at that time yet. After the older people passed on, all the younger ones, they lost their language. We couldn't, they didn't keep it up.
me, language is an education within itself because, having gone through many different circumstances in life as indigenous people, we've all at very different ages have heard our language or speak it to a certain extent and still learning it. And language, yeah, when I started out, we had to learn a lot from the elders in terms of why it was so important for us to try and regain our language because of all the intrusions of colonialism, and there are indigenous people that don't speak their language at all. They've never had that opportunity for whatever circumstances that came to be within their life.
My relationship with the language is that it's really special to me. My family lost their language a long time ago due to residential school, and it never really stuck with us at all. And if it did, then it died out. But it's special to me. It connects me to my culture, my land, the people. And it just, when I learn about it, it connects me more with everything around me, and it makes me realize how lucky I am to be on this journey. And it makes me proud of how far I've come in this whole journey of learning my language again.
Wasted. Kada ko sit wapsiet. Ugi ji sheban. Mskikini. The ceremonies that you do remind you of your connection. Whatever ceremony you do, our strength lies in the ceremony, which is a reminder of the knowledge that we pass on and what is actually happening at the moment. Understand by Mike? If you speak the language, you'll understand. And go pretend I won't understand by Mike. It's very important to maintain your language. Me magama cuisine is that take. That's where your strength is.
Well, it's who we are. It's our identity. It's how we communicate to the Creator. It's part of our ceremonies. It makes me wonder, let's say, I know most of the people that do ceremonies, they have the language yet. But what about the next generation after those people are gone and they want to carry on the ceremony? And the spirits that speak to us, they speak our native language. And so it's there spiritually. We will, I don't know, it'll be totally different, I say, if we don't connect with our language and our spirituality together. It's the sound of the land, the sound of, the sound of, it's like the drum, Mother Earth, and it's all connected.
When you pray, you try to use all you can in what you know in order to bring that language forward, because what that does, it creates curiosity. It also creates an attraction for those that don't know their language to want to learn their language, and it instills pride in everyone. And that's really the importance of languages, having that pride, not to a point where you're chastising others for not being fluent in that language. That's not the way they're going to want to learn. You're going to turn them off and they'll run away and they won't ever want to listen to you again. So you encourage one another. Languages, it varies, I said. We have the language of the spirit world, where we chant and where we sing. It's not something we made up. It's what we heard when we're out fasting or we're in a ceremony and the spirits come in there. And they teach us a lot about who we are and what it is and what we are about when we're in there together in that particular ceremony, especially some of the sweat lodges where I've heard the spirits, singing their songs. And, right across the board, it doesn't matter what tribe you're from within North America, we all have chants. And that's where that comes from, I tell you. It's not something our ancestors made up, but in it comes our language. They're singing their songs, and they're chanting at the same time. And that's why we mimic that. And that's what brings that understanding to us about how important it is for us to try and learn and regain our language to the best of our abilities.
I've always maintained the language. We teach it to our kids. Depending on how strong the children are, they use it. If they're too lazy, they won't. It goes with the teacher also. It's important to follow the path that's laid out for you. Because that's for you. Zikendamin des. Zikendamin des. Magnega milduin. And also to know what your responsibility is when you carry that knowledge.
As I grew up, I met other First Nation people. I heard them conversing in their language. And I thought, oh my God, we don't do that at Benue. We don't, maybe my cousin that speak to her in Anishinaabe, but it was always English. For some reason, it became more and more dominant. And it's, so I had got to the point where I said, oh my God, we really need to pass on this Anishinaabe one to our children. I think, which is really sad, I noticed that too myself. When I go visit my family, I should be speaking to them in Anishinaabe, which I don't. My nephew speaks Anishinaabe, all my nephews, my niece, but there's a next generation that's kind of not speaking Anishinaabe as much. So that next generation, especially the 5-year-old, I don't know how much of the language he will have.
Yes. For me, it's really, really important to know the language, eh? So, like to teach others, like, it would be really important for the to know the language, to teach the younger generation. Because when I was growing up, that's all they did is speak their language. The older people talk to you and they use the language. They tell their stories or sit around a campfire, tell their story about that. They had a lot of funny stories when they speak the language. Some stories they had. They had a lot of stories, the older people that they tell us.
I don't know how else to describe it. I guess for me, it's just the connection with our spirituality and who we are. It's so important, our identity, and to carry on the story the way it was originally told. It's so important, our history, the name places. Those are all you had one time. I think they've changed a lot because I think the government renamed those places. I still can remember places that the Anishinaabe place, let's say, like Villa Marie, the little community, we call it Weekwedo. And it just has to do with the bay. It's connected. I don't know if anybody knows that today.
My culture means a lot to me, and the language is very special towards me, and learning that language was just, it's slowly connecting all the strings back together. It took a while for me to slowly start learning words. And even me, I know basic words, but I can still put together a couple sentences. So I'm really fortunate to be able to do this kind of stuff with my family. They've always been there for me. Language is very important towards my identity. I've lost myself when I was little. I tried to be something I'm not really. The language has brought me that much closer to actually believing in myself and showing who I am towards other people. And there's a lot of people even today that still push for that identity. And I want to be able to show people that I am Native. And I want to show people that a lot of stereotypes about us that aren't true. I want to be able to show people that's who I am, that's my culture, that's my identity. And that's something that no one's going to take away from me. That's something I'm going to keep for myself.
Squeeze in. Be strong. No Jamaican. Follow your path of who you are really. Not to make up belief this is what you are. Just a band number. No Jamaican. And Nigi-Kidonan. Kajam squeeze in. So at a good papiguin. And then that good mega papiguin. Being laughed at is a punishment. It comes with learning. Be strong. Be strong and carry your destiny. Your reason of being. Kafkut kaiji gwin. Kajija motsay. Na queen. Be strong. Be tough. Be disciplined when you learn. You still know? Ask. You raise up the elders if you ask them.
Another thing too that they want to they want to learn it and not to try to learn too many words at a time at one time. It's no, what they do is they want to learn too many words at a time that they forget the first word they get to learn them. So they'll never learn like that. They want very few words at a time.
You have to connect with an elder. Yeah, you have to connect with an elder. Actually, the linguist I worked with, he that's how he learned Anishinaabe. When he speaks, he's not native, but he's fluent in Algonquin. Well, he's a linguist, so he knows how the whole language is. He's mapped it out pretty well, and that's what he did. He carried a little pocket book, and he would ask an elder, "How would you say this?" So he would write it down and practice it. Sometimes he says, "I would say things I wasn't sure what I said," and he would get a response, but he didn't quite understand what he was. But after a while, he started to connect. The more you hear it, the more you start to understand it. Anybody can follow or could use that method, let's say, to speak Anishinaabe. So the resources there, as long as the elders are there, and just need to be patient with yourself.
If someone was trying to learn the language, I would honestly tell them that hold that close to you. No one can take that away from you. and you have the power to learn it. You don't have to believe in everything, but if you try just enough, you will get that language and you will be able to speak it and enjoy speaking it and listening to it. It's something beautiful that no one can take away from you, and it's still deep within you. You just gotta find it.